So, what do you guys think? I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. So now I guess you can kind of see why when it came down to it, I'm like, what was the debate? Why did I ever even question this? Right? On so many levels, and this is why I said the info dump. I wanted to get to you. Also, there's been some developments going on with the Integra. We're moving along here, so I said that I wanted to tell everybody a lot of different things, but I put on everything on hold because I knew that this was coming. Right, once I made the decision to go ahead and buy an S2000, right? So. A little backstory on how this happened. Recently, and this is I'm gonna make a separate video about this as well. But throw it out here because it's part of the story for the S2000, right? And also part of the story of the Integra, right? So, I run a lot, and, so 20, was it not 20, but 30 to 40 minutes, 30 on a short day, 40 on a regular day, and like 50 to an hour, 50 minutes to an hour on a longer day, right? So as you can imagine, running on the fucking treadmill is kind of boring. So looking for shit to watch, right? There's not too many channels that I watch, not too many that hold my focus and attention. And I came across Gears and Gasoline's road trips. I look at the runtime, like 30 minutes. Okay, let's do that. So I started doing that, and then that held my attention long enough that when I would finish running and take a shower, I would generally speaking, I have usually about an hour left before I need to go to work. So if I have something quick to eat, I eat and then watch TV. So started watching those videos, and my son eventually got involved and started watching them too. Anytime that I can have my son do anything with me that's some shit that I like, and that's great. So whenever he's stuck on the couch and not moving, I'm like, we got him. And so in the course of watching it, we would start watching the K-Swap series, and then the Mazda. I think the Mazdas would kind of like put me on the path to getting the S2000, right? So when he's at ASM getting the kinks all worked out with the K-Swap FDRX7, there's I think there's like a green like Time Attack looking S2K they had there with a big old wing on it, and then the wing caught my son's eye. He's like, what is that? What is that? It's like, it's an S2000. Right, and then I guess came and went, and we watched the next part the next day, and he's like, he saw the yellow one. He's like, what? It was like, Dad, what is that car? I was like, that's an S2000. And there was a time where the camera cat had the S2000 in focus. He's like, wow, that's really nice. I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty badass car, right? And I was like, well, that's one of the two cars that I'm, the two cars at my forerun at the foremost of my list of what I'm gonna get. And this is not a secret. I mentioned it as like, I don't know if I should get an S2000 or if I should get the Corvette. I just want something that's going to be fun, either fun out the box or more mod friendly, right? So when I told him, I was like, well, I'm thinking about, trading the SI for a Corvette and then getting another car to pick you guys up from school. And he was like, oh, I like the SI. It's really comfortable. So like, you like the SI? I was like, so what do you think about the S2000? And he's like, yeah, that looks really cool. You gonna put a wing on it? I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about putting a fucking wing on it. I was like, you really like the S2000? Like, yeah, it looks really cool. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna buy an S2000. That's what we're gonna do. And I've been like kind of creeping. I joined the S2000 group in Florida. And Keyshawn, the guy I mentioned not too long ago who had raffled off his Integra, was in the market for an S2000. And I'm talking to Lee, who's my fabricator, and who's making the turbo manifolds and shit for me. I'm like, we're going back and forth, and he's like, yeah, he's thinking about getting an S2000. So I started, he posted looking for an S2000, 11,000 is my price range. I'm like, man, 11,000 is doable. So I'm just kind of like low key hunting on the post to see what people offer and what the price range is and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, okay, 11,000 is doable. So I seen one of the guys, and the guy I mentioned in Georgia, that offered him his S2K for 13.5, I believe, right? And it's a Suzuka Blue. Now the body of the car is flawless. It's beautiful. It looks great. The interior is also Suzuka Blue. It's fucking gross. But looking around at S2000s, like for cleanliness and whatnot, I seen he posted it for 14 in one group in Georgia, and then he posted it for 13.5, or he asked 13.5 for another guy, and then he offered it for 13 to another guy. So I'm like, okay, clearly this dude, it's been listed for a month. He's willing to work on the price. let me just give it a shot and DM him, see what's up. So I DM him an offer. I was like, look, man, don't freak out or anything on me. Just an offer. I'm throwing it out there. You know, mainly I was just hoping to start a dialogue and see how much he was trying to sell his car, how serious he was about selling it, or how bad he wanted to sell it, right? So I offered him 10.5. He said, no, sorry, I'll pass. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, so I see you offering it here and there, 3 different prices. What's your bottom dollar? And I'll see what we can do. He's like, 13K is as low as I can go. And I'm like, fuck, you know. So I'm looking around, and I don't really see anything that matches the price in that cleanliness. And I'm like, my son likes blue. So I'm like, well, fuck it, you know. He hasn't flown yet. You know, he hasn't flown since he was an infant. So I was like, man, you make it a trip, you know. It's like $30-some for a one-way trip to Atlanta from Fort Lauderdale. So I was like, we'll jump on a fucking plane and go get it. And then road trip back together. So, I was like, all right, let's see if we can sell some shit on VHP engines and make up enough money for me to feel comfortable to go get the car. And we were able to. So I DM'd the dude late. I'm like, yo, you know, I'm making some money here, and I'm gonna see if I can come up with it. If I can, I'll hop on a plane. Oh, Jesus. Saturday. I didn't get an answer, and it was kind of late. So, and of course, I apologized in the message, you know, if I had woke him up or whatever, but it didn't happen. So I had already joined a bunch of other S2000 groups as soon as I made the decision to buy an S2000. So I was like, fuck it, you know, let me keep looking more broadly. I don't care about flying, so anywhere on the East Coast, because I don't want to be too far away from home. Now, I wouldn't mind how far it was away from home if I know the car's 100% solid, but it's an old used car, so we're not sure. The closer to home, the better, right? In case of serious emergencies or whatnot, a couple $1,000s out of my pocket for shipping is not desirable, but doable in an emergency. So I look around, I see another S2000 with New York, it was a New York listing or whatnot, or New York plates on it or whatnot, and the guy is like located in Florida. So I'm like, oh. Now the pictures I saw of the car weren't very flattering. They were very close, and the angle that you were seeing the wide fender flares weren't the best. The car wasn't looking that great. So, but again, you know, I saw the listing at 11,000. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, 11 grand, that's better than 13. The interior is black. Another thing about the car that I will say that I didn't like offer it was the steering wheel. The S2000 steering wheel is an iconic sought after steering wheel. So, you know, I wanted that steering wheel and I wanted black interior. But if I had to choose black interior versus blue, you know, a wide body kit versus stock, I'm like, well, $2,000 is still $2,000, you know. So I'm like, you know, let me just hit the dude up and see what's going on. Let me see if I can get some better pictures, wider angle pictures of the car, see what's up. So I talked to the dude. He hits me up like within an hour or so. I'm like, oh, cool, you know. So I start talking back and forth, like where in Florida, title status, because it wasn't very detailed. He was just like message the for details or whatnot, which usually isn't very good, but whatever. I was like, okay, hit him up. He's like, clean title, cars, you know, healthy, ice cold AC, all the good stuff, all that jazz, everything fully functional, new soft top, whatever. So I'm like, okay, you know, could you send me some better angles of the picture of the car, bro? Like, I need to, I'm not digging the wide body thing too much. I want to see it at a distance, right? And he's like, all right, but you got to wait till the morning or whatnot. Okay, because it wasn't his car. He was selling it for somebody else. So, funny enough, within an hour or two of me posting, looking for a car, a dude hits me up, says, you can get this for 13. Because I made my listing, 13 is my bottom, you know, as high as I'm willing to go. Don't ask me for a cent more. So, I'm like, you know, the way he's asking, he's like, this is my car, it's clean. And he posts a picture, a different picture, or no, the same picture as one of the posting from the other guy. I'm like, well, what the fuck? It's a different dude. So, and the little bit of time I've been in the S2K groups, I see some little bit of fishy activity and fishy posting going on. So I'm a little nervous. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I'm like, yo, so I didn't reply in a DM. I just replied on the post, on the thread. So I'm like, look, man, like, I just had a whole conversation with, you know, the guy, who's going, so I don't think, at the time, I don't think I realized that he was posting it for somebody else or whatnot. So I was, you know, like, that don't look like you, bro. That's not you. And, you know, and the English also wasn't the best in text from dude. So I'm a little nervous. I'm like, oh, what's going on here, bro? You're posting pictures of the car, talking about you want 13, telling me you're in Orlando, come see it. And I was like, well, so you're in the right place in Florida. But again, I just had this whole conversation. So I'm like, look, man, I just talked to the guy who posted his car. I just saw it for 11,000. So I'm not going to give you more than 11,000 because I already seen this for 11,000. I'm not going to give you 13. Also, you know, I'm not really a big fan of the wide body, so I need to see better pictures. And also, I heard that somebody's coming from Virginia to look at the car or whatnot, or to get the car. So I don't want to be a dickhead and, you know, cock block somebody who may have already bought a plane ticket, especially for a car that I'm not 100% sure I like. So he's like, there's no tricks here, bro. He's like, come see it if you want. If not, it's fine. I'm like, look, you know, because it seemed like he was kind of like just throwing his hands up like, fuck you. I don't care if you buy it or not. Not in a rush to sell. So I was like, you know, I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. You're misunderstanding what I'm trying to tell you. I was like, you know, I'm interested in all that stuff, but I just need to see better pictures of the car. I need to know it's really you. So I think there's no comment, there's no reply for a few minutes, and then like I get a DM. That's when the conversation got better. Like when he sent me like a security camera picture. He's like, look, bro, my brother-in-law posted the car. Is, you know, because I don't like dealing with people. I'm like, okay. And he's like, and normally I don't even fuck around on Facebook, but I just happened to see and that you're close by. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know, understandable. So again, he's like, I have a Panamera, a Porsche Panamera, and I have an SRT8, like a Jeep. So I don't drive the car; it just sits. It's like it's clean paint. The white body's clean, all this stuff. The car's healthy. I was like, okay. You know, again, you know, I'd like wider angle pictures, but I think that was one of those things that was lost in translation. He's just like, come see it. I'm like, so I'm talking to one of the guys I work with, and he's like, yeah, that one looks really good. I'm like, I don't know, you know, because I'm thinking I keep the car close to original, so that way later on down the line, if I want to go to sell it, it's unmolested, just lowered. But I really don't like that Suzuka Blue, and it's a 600-mile trip. So I'm like, fuck it. Like, worst case scenario, I don't like the car. I don't buy the car. I go home. All right, so I showed my wife. Me and my wife had a little bit of an argument, a misunderstanding in the early AM. She wasn't the happiest person in the world to think about me, because she really, like I said, for the longest time, guys, she's really pushing for the Corvette. So I said, listen, the Corvette is there's a billion of them out there. The Corvette's not going anywhere. They're gonna keep making Corvettes. You know, every year that goes by, the Corvettes go down a little bit in price. They're a dime a dozen. I can find one whenever the fuck I want. We'll just, you know, refinance the car, refinance the SI, keep it for a little while longer, and I'll get the S2000. I was like, it's a really rare car. You know, they only made it for 10 years. It's not going to lose its value. The value is only going up, and I'm not going to lose any money on the build. Whatever I invest in it, I'm guaranteed to make the money back on. You know, but she's not a car person. She doesn't understand this. She doesn't give a fuck. Right? So I was like, just trust me on this. You know, please don't give me a hassle on this. You know, I don't, you know, there's not often that I say that I want something. Like, please just don't be a downer on something that I've worked, you know, working really hard for, and I think that can be a positive for the channel. So we get it all sorted out. We get up, we go, we get the money, we go to look at the car. As soon as we pull up, you know, and I'm getting ahead of myself. It's one of those things where it seemed like nature was fighting us. It started storming, traffic was really bad. It just seemed like we were making really slow progress. You know, so it was really antsy to get up there. We finally got up there. We got up there right around the time. We still wound up getting there around the time that I told the dude to expect us. And as we're pulling up to the front of the house, the car's sitting in the driveway, and me and my wife were both sold, like immediately. Like, as long as nothing's wrong with this car, we're taking it. I was like, holy fuck. And I think that it translates to the walk around that I showed you guys. I think you all agree. Like, the car looks fucking amazing. So I'm like, wow, this looks so much better in person. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I know you're gonna like it when you saw it. That's why I was just telling you to come see it, bro. Like, it's much better when you just see it. I'm like, yeah, it looks good, right? And so I test drive the car. Everything seems to be all good. You know, it's not overheating or anything. AC is piping. So, you know, we talked back and forth for a little while. Apparently, this S2000 is the dude's fifth. He showed me a couple of his older S2000s. He was making some big power. He was fucking murdering GTRs and beating up on high horsepower Mustangs and stuff. So I'm like, okay, you know, you know, and also when doing my little test drive, I can immediately see, like, I understand why he doesn't drive this car. It is loud. It's got full exhaust and whatever, but the trunk has got no carpet. I need to go over it, of course, in depth and detail and look at everything in the car. The trunk is open, bare metal. You can hear everything on the highway. It is loud as fuck, which is why I'm filming here instead of filming driving behind the wheel. You know, I was going to get a camera and mount it on the windshield, or the phone holder mounted on the windshield and talk, but it's loud. It's super loud. I don't think you guys can hear me. And already we're 15 minutes into it. I got a lot more to tell you guys. I didn't want to have to reshoot. So I was like, yeah, we'll just wait. I'm just going to have to wait till I get home, which is why you guys had to wait and whatnot. But overall, the seats are very Spartan. Not very much cushioning and padding. Sitting in the car is very comfortable, but you don't really have a lot of room to maneuver. So it's kind of hard to relieve your butt cheeks from going numb for a couple hours. So long distance road trips, probably not the best. Not that I say that I wouldn't do it, but not the most comfortable. But overall, like, very comfortable to sit in and ride. Like, it's got the proper elbow rest places and all that stuff. And I enjoy it. And VTEC rips hard as fuck. And that car is faster NA than I gave it credit for. Like, I was like, my son's like, it's a fast car. I'm like, it's not a fast car yet. It's gonna be fast. But it's faster than the SI. Like, just for my butt dyno, it's faster than the SI. And I can't really open up the car at full potential just yet, because of the fact that the rack needs to be either rebuilt or replaced. It's squirrely. The car is squirrely. It gets squirrely. So I can't, you know, I can do like anything under 60, I can do a pull on, but anything above that, nah, you gotta be careful. And that also really leads to, but the other situation, now that I own this car, immediately stressed out. This is the first car I've ever owned and driven that I'm like, holy fuck, like, I feel nervous about. Like, I'm like, you know, especially last year, you guys know I got hit a lot. Like, there was a lot of accidents. I got rear-ended a bunch of times, shit like that. So now I'm like looking around me everywhere, like nervous as fuck, like, don't get close to me type shit. You know, like, also the car is super slammed, so I got to be super conscientious of any kind of little bumps and shit I go over to avoid scrapage and whatnot. So it can be a stressful car to drive because it's not a beater. It's not something you want to damage. It's not something you want to fuck up. So the thoughts of me ever putting it on the track, well, that's not going to happen unless I'm rich. So unless I get rich, that's the only way I'll put it on the track, because if I have to replace the car for whatever reason, there's not a big deal. But I want to keep this car healthy, safe. And not saying I'm going to baby it, because of course we're going to rebuild for boost. But just want to be careful, you know, how I put it on the road or whatnot, and just limit my my time driving it, because I don't want to take the chance of anything happening where this is gonna get fucked up. At least not for a while. Like, you know, keep the car for a year or two, make sure it's, you know, get my full use and viewership out of it, and then if we go to upgrade or whatnot, whatever. Hopefully I make the car famous. Like, I want to make it fast, and then I might go and, you know, do some street pulls, or I know do highway pulls or whatnot, and do roll racing. But I just don't see me trying to ever drag race with that car. It's stressful. But we'll see. The future for that car is not written in stone. We're just gonna, right now, like, I'm formulating a plan. It seems like there's a little bit of a third gear grind up top if you try to quick shift. Third gear scratches just a little bit. So now I'm debating on what do I do for that. Like, I might, do I pull the trans and add a trans rebuild to the list? If I do, I'm not doing that. I got to give it to somebody else. That's more parts, more labor. But what's probably going to happen is I'll probably just ignore that, because just money costs. And I want this car to bring back results with the quickness. All right, so plans with that car, right? Because I've already talked to, again, Lee, the guy who makes the turbo stuff for me. I'm gonna have him make the turbo manifold, which is gonna be fucking expensive, closing in on $1,000 or just $1,000. And then I'm gonna have him make the downpipe. Have him make all the intercooler piping or whatnot. And he does V-band clamps for the intercooler piping, so ain't none of that couplers blowing off bullshit. Car's gonna be solid. Also, I don't think I'm going to cheap out on the turbo or the wastegate or anything like that. We're going to see what's going on. Like, I'm going to try and get good shit here, like the best stuff I can get, because this car is going to be my flagship for VHP engines from now on. This is going to be hopefully the best of VHP engines. It's going to showcase, you know, engine building, because I'm going to do the rebuild for the engine. Now, as far as the engine goes, I don't think I'm going to do much there, because I'm going to keep it on pump gas. I want to be able to drive it everywhere. And so 500 horsepower is going to be my limit. And what I might do is I might just do ARP rod bolt upgrade and call it a day. Oh, as far as the head goes, I'm going to do springs. So springs and retainers, stock cams, and ARP rod bolts is most likely what I'm looking at. Now, if somebody wants to sponsor some shit, You know, again, I'm not going to ask anybody, but if somebody wants to give me some free stuff to put in that block, then I'll do that. But otherwise, just going to keep it simple because a lot of money is going to go into the turbo kit. You know, I'm already looking at $1,000 just for the manifold alone. Then I got to buy the turbo, and I'm probably not going to cheap out there either this time. Probably going to get a, you know, decent brand turbo. We'll see. Maybe what I might do is I might, you know, go a little low ball on the turbo and the wastegate and a couple of small things that make the power I'm going to make. And hopefully maybe that draws in some more attention. And then if that does, then I might upgrade to bigger stuff. So that's most likely what's going to happen, because at the end of the day, bro, you know, guys, I'm not opposed to putting an eBay GT35 $100 turbo on there and save me a lot of money that I could spend on other things. And the same thing with the wastegate, because at the end of the day, you know, you can just get bigger springs, and at the end of the day, it's all going to do the same fucking job. Same thing with the blow-off valve and whatnot. So I probably will go on the cheaper route for those things just to get progress reports back. Now, the AP1, which is what this car is also doesn't have you can't just put a K-Pro in that. So I'm gonna have to spend money on the ECU as well. So I think my choices are down to AEM and Haltech, and I'll probably go with Haltech ECU. So there's some big money that's going to be spent on this car, but I think it's not going to be insanely big. To be 100% honest, I think I'm going to spend more money on the basic stuff than I am on the turbo kit as a whole. I think that it's a realistic expectation to spend probably around $2,500 for the turbo kit. And the hopes of this is you know, Humble Performance has their budget turbo kit that they do for the RSX EP3, and they're coming for the older chassis and whatnot as well. Well, I want to do that for the S2000. So the thing is with Lee, we can use my car, and because it won't be like, I don't need that car to get around, I'll have the SI, so I can leave the car with him and we can make the turbo kit. And then hopefully the car gets enough attention, enough viewership on it, then we can start offering an S2000 turbo kit. Yeah, that's the idea. So there's that plan, right? That's the plan right there for that. So the plan is 500 horsepower, pump gas, and then just a nice little cruiser car. So again, I hope that I get some sponsorship. You know, if I can, you know, I know I don't need pistons and rods, but you know, I wouldn't mind. You know, Nippon Racing does make FRM pistons, FRM compatible pistons for the S2000. Now, S2000s, stock S2000s have wound up to being 700 horsepower and whatnot. So yeah, that'll probably be another upgrade to do, is the head studs or whatnot. But I think at the end of the day, you know, I'm probably going to replace the water pump, timing tensioner, but timing chain, all that stuff. So I think the biggest cost of the rebuild is going to come from, you know, buying all the little shit, you know, that's going to add up there. I think the turbo kit's going to be quite manageable. As a matter of fact, I think that my bank account could potentially rebound enough in the next month or two where I could probably go ahead and get started on this. So what I'm most likely going to do, guys, is I'm most likely going to do the turbo manifold first, because it's one of the two most expensive things. Turbo manifold first, then it's going to be the ECU, and once I got those two things done, then I'll start buying all the rest of it. And then so the plan is to take it to Lee, have him pull the engine for me. I'll pick up the engine, do the rebuild, and then take it back to him. And I want to do this as a weekend thing, like tear the engine down, have it done, and send back in a week. Also, the guy who sold me the car had a spare head, and he gave me a spare head. So I actually have half of another engine sitting on the side. And the first idea I had was, before I even thought about going to Lee and doing this whole thing, was that I'll just build another engine on the side, and when the time comes, I'll swap it out. And that's still a possibility. If I can find a block and crank at a decent enough price, I'll get that. And also, this is going to lead into some engine cart stuff that I have as a separate upload later. Now, I told you all that stuff, so I want to crunch down the rest of it, because it's not too much I need to talk about. We're just going to crunch it down what to expect as far as the Integra goes. So I got the new battery for the Integra and whatnot, and the sleeve, the master cylinder replacement for the clutch master cylinder did get the car out of gear. I told you guys a long time ago that I hadn't worked on the car because it's stuck in gear. So now it's out of gear. It means it's drivable. The car is drivable as it is. So the car wouldn't start. It was sputtering and spitting. So I got me some starter fluid. I'm gonna pump it with starter fluid this weekend. Hopefully I can get it turned on. If I can get it turned on, that'll be great. That'll help with motivation. Then I will do some more work on the car, finish mocking up the turbo kit. At that point, the car will be 100% as a solid swap. I just need to plug off some coolant ports, put the 2 radiator hoses in and the radiator, and then the car can go drive, right? The only thing that'll stop it from being tunable at that point is just the hubs. The hubs are fucking shot, so I need to replace those out. Now, the thing that makes me hesitant on that is I'm a little nervous that the ball joints and tie rods and shit might not be 100% there. So I got to get that shit sorted out, you know, when the time comes. But if that's the case, the thing is the brake lines aren't 100%, but they're right there, so it wouldn't take much to finish either. I just got to put the fitting on, and then I can thread them in, and it'll be fine. But the priority is just to get it to the point where it can run and drive on the dyno, and then get the numbers out of it. And then at that point, I very well may yank the swap and put it aside. Now, if you're thinking, Chris, why would you go through years of waiting for that car to run and then pull it out right after you got it? It won't be an immediate thing. Like, I won't just fucking tune it one day and then pull it the next. I'll probably drive around it a little bit. But the thing is, for that car, I've already got a K put aside. I have the crank is in the block. The pistons got here earlier in the week. The rods that came back from the machine shop, I use stock rods. The stock rods are back from the machine shop. They're, healthy, ready to go, ready for the 11.5 compression pistons. And then I'm going to use one of my base model heads with the upgraded springs to run a Frankenstein. So the whole thing with the S2000 is hopefully bring attention to VHP engines as well. Also to help promote the turbo stuff. And also to showcase the build work, because I know you guys for years have been asking for me to do car stuff, and I haven't really been doing car stuff. I just talk about it. I build a lot of engines for people, but people take their time coming back. I may have some good news about an all-wheel drive setup coming for you guys soon, but I'm not ready to speak on that just yet. Not me. It's an engine I built type deal. And then, so the K-Series thing. That's also going to be another 500 wheel horsepower pump gas build. So that's why I don't mind keeping the bottom end mostly stock or whatnot, stock rods. So yeah, and then of course the turbo manifold I showed you guys the other day, that one's not mine. It is also a K Sidewinder, and mine has been paid for and is going to be made. Although that manifold is for sale. Like I mainly got it to showcase and offer you guys for sale. When it comes time for that, I will talk about it more in detail. I will talk about that manifold in detail when I have it, and my plans for how I want to market those manifolds. So that's coming soon as well. Also. And so hopefully the things go, if everything is perfect, if the money keeps flowing, I really only need to go, I just need to add $2,000 or $3,000 more back to my account before I can start investing money in the S2000. All right, so I'm going to change brakes and rotors on that as well. And I'm going to redo the entire rack and pinion or replace it. So I'm going to need to do the rack and all the little suspension things. So a decent amount of money is going to go into this car. But what I imagine what's most likely going to happen is if I can do the engine rebuild, get the ECU, and get the turbo kit done, then I will have the car tuned and then go back and deal with the suspension stuff later. Because this is a car that I 100% don't really worry too much about driving every day. So there's no need to rush, but I do want to move along quickly. I want 2021 to be the year that VHP Engines officially starts having cars on the road that are produced 100% by me. So there's that. And then so I get the results back from the B series, just to have the numbers done. I might drive it around a little bit. Depending on where I am at my progress with the S2000, I'll go to start building the K, swapping out the B for the K. And most likely I'm going to have Lee do that as well. I'll build the engine, take it to him, drop off the car, say, here it is, put it in the car, do the turbo kit, and then again use the Integra, and then hopefully have a full turbo kit to be able to offer you guys for sale as well. So I'm going to talk to Lee in the near future. We're going to have another discussion. And we've already had a discussion before when I got the S2000. We're going to talk about it again. And that's hopefully the idea where we can help offer you guys drop-in turbo kits. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, but hopefully, I think they're going to look and perform well enough where you guys are going to be okay to spend the money. yeah, and I guess that's it for now. That's it for the full VHP engine thing. I'm not broke, but my bank account is back to looking where it was probably the beginning of the year before VHP engine started making a bunch of money. So any of you guys want to contribute to this S2000, contribute to my Integra, which, now I can officially say that I'm not just saying, oh, maybe I'll get it done and then wait a year or two. My drive to do work on these cars is back, like 100% back, and I'll talk about that in another video. And I want to get these things done, and I think we're very close to getting the B series done for the Integra. And if I get to a point where I get frustrated with the Integra again, where I'm just like, I want to step away from it, I've already talked to Lee. Lee's ready to step in and finish whatever needs to be done if we need to go there. But I don't think we do. I think we're close enough now where I can do this. I can do it without losing my motivation. And then go move forward with the S2000. So hopefully I'll have two 500 horsepower cars that are badass very soon. And it's neat and weird. My wife at first was like, the Corvette would have been better. But seeing people's reaction to it as soon as we got out into the general population, like once we got out of this neighborhood and got to the street, people were just like, you just see people's face, like the way they react when they see the car. It's crazy. I've had a bunch of fast cars in the past, guys. It was well before VHP engines was a thing. But I had a fast ass EM1 clone. I had a fast ass CRX. I had a fast ass fucking Del Sol. None of those things got the attention S2000 has, and it's not even making power yet. It's just like, just I've seen people walk by and look up, and then like their just faces light up like, holy shit. And it's weird to be on the other side of the steering wheel. Usually it's me drooling over other people's cars, and you guys help make this happen, guys. The guys that come to me and bought everything, my regular job pays the bills. VHP engines is what helps do the sidecar stuff. So now you have something to see, have something to look forward to, because that car is definitely going to get done. Hopefully by the end of the summer, it'll be ready to go. And then I can start going out to Florida car meets with it. And once we make sure that there's no bugs, we will start going out up and down the East Coast. Hopefully show up at a Honda Day, the Maryland Honda Day. We'll see how things go for next year. So hopefully next year, Honda Day, the S2000 will be there. And then maybe I'll just rotate between the S2000 and the Integra. I'll probably do that. I'll probably take the S2000 out one year. Or what I'll probably do is take the S2000 out for Maryland as Honda Day. And then at the end of the year, when they do World Cup finals, take out the Integra. So that way they both can go out. Because I think World Cup finals also happens at Mechanicsville in Maryland. So yeah, long-winded video, guys. I hope you guys watched it. I hope you guys care enough to see what's going on. And if not, I think that this is going to be a life-changing event, because I think this is going to bring a lot of attention to VHP engines. And then the more attention that comes to VHP engines, the more money it generates. The more money it generates, the more I can do things that you guys like. So thank you, everybody who's followed and supported. For everybody who spent a dollar and a dime with me. I appreciate y'all. I do. Even though some people think I'm a cunt or an asshole because of the way I approach them, you just have to deal with, if you have to deal with the amount of people I deal with, a bunch of you guys are great, but there are a lot of window shoppers. And most of the guys who come and ask me for things never buy anything. So patience with me is also appreciated, guys. Social media links are in the description down below, and peace. Thanks for watching.